how did you get like that? For example, people like Dwight Schrute or Trisha Paytas, Benito Mussolini, or Melania Trump. Melania, blink twice if you're in danger. But more recently, I've been fascinated with Karens. Oh, Karen. Who hurt you, Karen?
Karen, will you grow up? Stop!
So today, we're going to explore the life of Karen Johnson, the Kareniest of Karens. Bonus points if you take a shot every time I say Karen.
Bottoms up.
So, what makes a Karen a Karen? Well, this specific Karen was called Karen by her parents Samuel and Susan Johnson. They loved Karen very much, despite the fact that she was basically rabid. In fact, Karen was quite spoiled. The Johnsons bought her whatever she wanted. At the age of 3, they even bought her a car, and the Sips 4 doesn't even have any cars. Where did they get that? Karen wasn't allowed at daycare because of her problem, but she loved having tea parties with all of her stuffed animals because Karen learned at a young age that friends can be bought. Karen was very close to her parents, and she'll never forget when her father looked at her and said, "Karen, Shadubi Laromi, Dag Dag Inglefu." Wow. Sorry, I need a moment. Elementary school was an interesting time for Karen. She had some friends, surprisingly, and her grades were pretty good. She took an interest in singing because her lifelong dream was to become a megastar with millions of adoring fans.
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do.
You'll get there someday, Karen. Her birthday parties were extravagant with lots of gifts. Her Christmases were extravagant with lots of gifts. Her Thanksgivings were extravagant with lots of gifts. I mean, seriously, can you imagine getting gifts on Thanksgiving? Don't look now, the Europeans are confused.
Thanksgiving is the American holiday where millions of Americans celebrate the time where a massive anus named Christopher Columbus horribly massacred the Native Americans.
Alright, Karen. The life of Karen so far seems too perfect. Well, then came the day. It was a Wednesday. Nothing goes well on a Wednesday, except Fakegamergirl uploads. Karen received the results to her math test, only to find out she failed. Uh-oh. She immediately called home, and her mom, Susan, came storming in, demanding the teacher rectify her grades. The teacher refused, so she went to the principal. The principal refused, so she went to the district intendant. The district intendant refused, so she took the case to the governor. The governor was like, how did you get into my office? So he refused. So Susan took it all the way to the Supreme Court, but by then the semester ended, so the entire thing didn't really matter, and Karen passed the class anyway. But Karen learned a very powerful thing that day, that she is entitled to everything. So whenever Karen would be playing with her friends and they'd say something she didn't like, she'd set her mom Susan on them like some strange social justice pit bull. Her friends eventually stopped bothering Karen, mostly by leaving her alone and not being her friend anymore. So Karen was all alone. All that Karen had left at the end of her childhood days was her love of singing, and her massive house, pool, indoor play area, car that was somehow illegally acquired in a world without cars, and a horrible sense of entitlement. But if you think childhood was rough, wait till you become a teenager. Oh my god, the flashbacks. Karen's lonely childhood made her awful at communicating, so she spent a lot of time alone. And in high school, when you're alone, you're bait. Cue in the Mean Girls. They're so scary. Tiffany. Jade. Hadoki Boki. Her parents were native Simlish speakers. Don't be racist. They bullied Karen every chance they got. Karen knew they weren't as rich as her. Seriously, where did she get this car from? But that didn't stop her from feeling inadequate compared to them. She hated going to school purely because of them. Most kids in high school go through a rebellious phase, deviating from their parents' moral compasses. Karen at this point didn't have the energy for this. She just kept her head down and studied hard. She wasn't gonna be mean to anybody because that would just set the mean girls off on her. Until one day, this guy notices that Karen's all alone at lunch and sits with her. At least, that's what Karen thought. The truth of it was, all the other seats were just taken and there was nowhere else to sit. His name was Steve. Steve and Karen spent a lot of time together. Steve wanted to be a musician just like her, except he had some semblance of talent, and the two quickly fell in love. It's so fucking cute. Oh no. No. Hadoki Boki actually had a huge crush on Steve back in like freshman year, and even though but she swore she was like totally over him. That doesn't give Karen an excuse to just steal him away. So Hideki Boki just totally blasts Karen on social media, calling her because she with Steve, and is so obviously Steve couldn't believe what he just saw. Could this really be true? Was Karen really She swore she'd never. How could she? The Johnson fury raged within Karen. The fire could not be put out. She called home and her mom is crying? Her dad, Samuel Johnson, went on a business trip and never came home, leaving Susan and Karen all alone. He didn't die or anything. Samuel just realized that the woman he married was batshit crazy, and his daughter is also a borderline narcissist, and flew the coop. He also had a secret family in Monaco he didn't tell anybody about. We can't all be perfect. Her mom, too emotionally compromised to help Karen and also on trial for the sudden disappearance of Samuel Johnson's second wife, couldn't help Karen with her problem. So Karen had to do it herself. She got Hideki Boki and the rest of the mean girls expelled for cyberbullying, but it didn't stop there. She managed to get the rest of the school expelled, except for her and Steve. There's no competition if it doesn't exist, but Steve wanted nothing to do with her. So again, Karen was all alone. Depressed and seemingly oppressed. Check your privilege, Karen. Karen spent most of her adult life trying to get into the music business, but for some reason, nobody wanted to sign Karen to their label. I wonder why. She decided to get a job as an art critic so her talents wouldn't be put to waste. One day, whilst at an art exhibition, Karen spots Steve and Hideki Boki? They're still together?
Miaxa Blunif.
Apparently not anymore. Like the manipulative bitch that Karen is, she knows that approaching Steve whilst he's emotionally compromised is the best way to get what she wants. The two end up rekindling their relationship and eventually get married. They even have a couple of kids. Karen right now should be really happy, but there's something missing. Steve had given up his musician dream to work a full-time job to look after the kids. And by look after the kids, I mean try and keep up with Karen's lavish lifestyle that she refused to give up. I mean, seriously, do you know how much it costs to get gas in a world where cars don't exist? Karen's dreams of becoming a musician are seemingly gone too. Steve ends up spending most of the time getting juiced. But why though? With barely any time to spend with the kids and not having had a woohoo in what feels like years, Karen is literally a ticking time bomb. No! Don't tell her to wear a mask! She'll... And then it happened. Again, on a Wednesday too. Karen's having lunch with her kids when the waiter brings the wrong order. Karen immediately calls for the manager and she arrives. No! Even Karen can't remember what happened on that fateful day. It was all a blur. All she remembers is that she lost everything. Her children, her husband, her loyalty card at her favorite restaurant, all alone in this ridiculously wealthy house. What does Karen have left? The rare automobile in her driveway, yes, but other than that, anything that actually matters? And in her resting moments, the familiar words of her father come back to her.
Karen, Shadubi Larumi, Dag Dag Inglefu.
And it all makes sense now.
Wanka Kuni Bubblers, Merska your blicky bars, one fond to Caesars, Thursday Mippin Lugar, fond to Caesars, Kalu Mippin Lugar, Wexlander, Wanka Nehaska Flar.
Thanks for watching my video. New videos every Wednesday with Sims being every other week. Social medias are linked below. Share with a friend to help me grow, and always remember,